Your mortgage rate is around 6.5% right now, and it wasn't chosen by your bank or by the Fed. It came from a market most Americans have never looked at once in their lives, a $145 trillion machine that quietly prices your mortgage, your car loan, your job security, and your retirement account. In 2022, that machine caused the safe part of millions of retirement portfolios to lose about 16% in a single year. Most people who own bonds don't actually understand how they work. By the end of this video, you will, and you'll know exactly what every move in the bond market costs you in dollars. A bond is a loan. Someone needs money. A government, a company, a city. And instead of going to a bank, they borrow it from investors. You hand over a fixed amount, called the principal. They promise two things in return: a fixed interest payment every year, called the coupon, and your principal back on a specific date, called the maturity. That is the entire instrument. A piece of paper that says, lend me money now, I'll pay you interest every year, and I'll give you the principal back on this date. Bonds are not complicated. What makes them powerful is the scale at which they operate. The United States government borrows more than anyone else on Earth. As of last month, the total national debt sits at $39.2 trillion. That number is so large it loses meaning, so consider this instead. The interest payment alone, not the debt itself, just the interest, is roughly $1.05 trillion a year. That works out to about $2.88 billion every single day. The government spends more on interest than it does on national defense. This matters because every dollar of government interest is paid out of your taxes, and the rate it pays is set by the same market that prices your mortgage. There is exactly one rule you need to understand to make sense of the rest of this video. When interest rates rise, the price of existing bonds falls. When rates fall, the price of existing bonds rises. The two move in opposite directions every time without exception. Here is why. Suppose you buy a $1,000 bond paying 3%. That bond pays you $30 a year. A few months later, the government issues new bonds at 5%. Those new bonds pay $50 a year for the same $1,000. Now you want to sell your bond. Nobody will pay $1,000 for it because they can buy a new one paying more. The only way to sell it is to drop the price until the $30 it pays works out to a competitive yield. At 5%, that price is about $600. You haven't lost any future payments. The bond still pays $30 a year and returns $1,000 at maturity. But on paper, your $1,000 investment is now worth $600. Every disaster in the rest of this video is that rule operating at a larger scale. Of all the bonds in that $145 trillion market, one matters more than the others. It is the 10-year U.S. Treasury, currently yielding 4.5%. When a bank decides what mortgage rate to offer you, it does not invent the number. It looks at the 10-year Treasury and asks one question: why would I lend money to a household for 30 years when I could lend it to the U.S. government for 10 years, risk-free, at 4.5%? The answer is, it wouldn't, unless you pay more. So the bank takes the 10-year yield and adds roughly 2 percentage points to compensate for the extra risk that you, a regular person, might lose your job, get sick, or default. Right now, the 10-year is at 4.5%. Add roughly 2 points, and the national average 30-year fixed mortgage rate is 6.52%. The math is that direct. Consider Brian. Brian is buying a house. He needs a $400,000 30-year fixed mortgage. At today's rate of 6.52%, his monthly principal and interest payment is $2,534. Now imagine the 10-year Treasury rises by half a percentage point, a routine move that the bond market completes in a single trading week. Brian's mortgage rate rises by roughly the same amount to 7.02%. His new monthly payment is $2,667. That is $133 more every month for the next 360 months. Over the life of the loan, that half-point move costs Brian $47,898. If the 10-year moves up by a full point, also routine, Brian's mortgage rate climbs to 7.52%. His monthly payment becomes $2,802, which is $269 more every month. Over 30 years, that 1 point move in a bond yield Brian has never bought in a market he has never visited costs him $96,769. To see how much power the bond market has over Brian's life, run his $400,000 loan through two different historical rates. In January 2021, the 30-year fixed mortgage hit an all-time low of 2.65%. At that rate, Brian's monthly payment would have been $1,612. In October 2023, the same rate peaked at 7.79%. At that rate, the same $400,000 loan costs Brian $2,877 a month. That is the same loan, on the same house, with the same buyer. The only thing that changed was the yield on the 10-year Treasury. The difference is $1,265 a month, or $455,349 over the life of the mortgage. The bond market handed Brian a $500,000 bill without ever sending him an invoice. For decades, the standard advice given to anyone approaching retirement was simple. As you age, move out of stocks and into bonds. Bonds are the safe part. Stocks grow your money, bonds protect it. A classic 60-40 portfolio, 60% stocks, 40% bonds, was sold as the conservative, sensible default. The bond half was supposed to be the seat belt. In 2022, the Federal Reserve raised interest rates faster than at any point in 40 years. The federal funds rate went from near zero to over 4% in 9 months. Apply the rule from Act 1. When rates rise, existing bond prices fall. The broad U.S. bond market, measured by the Bloomberg U.S. Aggregate Bond Index, lost 13.0% that year. The worst calendar year in the index's history, going back to 1976. The S&P 500 fell 18.1% the same year. A 60-40 portfolio of U.S. stocks and bonds, the supposed conservative default, lost about 16% in 2022. The seatbelt did not catch anyone. It was attached to the same crash. The further out on the maturity curve a bond sat, the worse the loss. Intermediate-term Treasury bonds, the kind held in most retirement target date funds, lost 10.6% in 2022, the biggest decline since at least 1926. Long-dated zero-coupon Treasury bonds, the longest duration safe assets on Earth, lost 39.2%. To put that in perspective, a Santa Clara University analysis of historical asset returns found that 2022 was the worst year for long-duration U.S. bonds going back to 1754. Not 1954, 1754. The United States did not exist yet. There were 13 colonies, and the safe sleeve of America's retirement portfolios was having its worst year in 268 years. There is a single number that explains why some bond funds got hit so much harder than others. It is called duration, and it is printed on every bond fund's fact sheet, where most investors never look at it. Duration is a rough estimate of how much a fund will lose for every 1 percentage point rise in interest rates. Consider a retiree with $500,000 in what she believes is a safe bond fund. If her fund has a duration of 6, typical for a broad bond index fund, a 1-point rise in rates costs her $30,000. If her fund has a duration of 17, typical for a long-dated Treasury fund, that same 1-point rise costs her $85,000. Same retiree, same $500,000, same rate move, $55,000 difference. Most people who own bond funds have no idea what their duration is. They were told bonds are safe and stopped reading. Duration is the difference between a small bruise and a broken leg. One detail bit millions of retirees in 2022. If you buy an individual bond and hold it to maturity, the price drops along the way, mean nothing. You collect every coupon and you get your principal back at the end. You can ignore the rule from Act 1 entirely. A bond fund is different. A bond fund never matures. It is a basket of bonds that gets repriced every single day. When rates rise, the losses on that basket show up on your statement, and they stay there. The 2022 losses we just discussed are real, and they did not go away when the year ended. Government bonds are considered the safest borrower in the world because the US government can always print dollars to pay back dollar-denominated debt. Companies cannot. Companies go bankrupt. So when a company issues a bond, investors demand a higher yield than they would accept from the government to compensate for that risk. The gap between safe government bonds and risky corporate bonds is called the high yield spread. When that spread is narrow, investors are calm. When it widens, the bond market is saying it expects trouble, defaults, layoffs, missed payments. The high yield spread is one of the cleanest signals of corporate stress available to the public, and it moves before most economic data does. The same relationship works in reverse when fear spikes. When investors think a recession is coming, or when a financial shock hits, a war, a banking crisis, a credit downgrade, they sell stocks and corporate bonds and rush into US Treasuries. The move is called a flight to quality. It pushes Treasury prices up and Treasury yields down, sometimes within hours. This is also why, in most periods, stocks and bonds move in opposite directions. When stocks sell off, money flows into bonds, which pushes bond prices up and softens the blow on the overall portfolio. That balance is what made the 60-40 portfolio work for half a century. The reason 2022 was so destructive, the reason the safe sleeve failed, was that the cause of the sell-off was rising interest rates, and rising rates are poison to both stocks and bonds at the same time. The hedge broke because the thing being hedged had become the thing causing the damage. The same logic shapes how investors price the stock market. Government bonds offer a guaranteed yield. Stocks offer a higher expected return, but with no guarantee at all. The difference between what investors expect to earn from stocks and what they could earn risk-free from a 10-year treasury is called the equity risk premium. Today, the 10-year pays 4.5%. If an investor expects stocks to return 7% per year over the long run, the equity risk premium is roughly 2.5 percentage points. That is the reward for taking on stock risk instead of holding government bonds. When bond yields rise, that premium shrinks. And when the premium gets thin enough, investors start to sell stocks and rotate into bonds. The 2009 to 2021 stock bull market was largely a story of yields being so low that almost any expected stock return looked attractive. The 2022 sell-off was largely the reverse. Yields rose, and the equity risk premium got squeezed. There is one more piece of the bond market worth understanding, because it predicts the future better than any economist alive. It is called the yield curve. The yield curve is a simple chart. It plots the yields on US Treasury bonds across every maturity, from 3 months out to 30 years. Right now, the 3-month Treasury yields 3.71%. The 2-year yields 4.09%. The 10-year yields 4.5%. The 30-year yields about 5%. Plotted on a chart, those points slope upward. Short maturities on the left, long maturities on the right, yields rising as you move from left to right. That shape is what economists call a normal yield curve, and it is the shape the curve takes in the large majority of all market environments. The logic is intuitive. The longer your money is tied up in a bond, the more compensation you require for tying it up. A 30-year loan is riskier than a 3-month loan because more can go wrong in 30 years than in 3 months. Economists call that extra payment the term premium, and it is the reason the yield curve normally slopes upward. Occasionally, the curve inverts. Short-term yields rise above long-term yields. The 2-year Treasury starts paying more than the 10-year. When that happens, the bond market is making a specific prediction. It expects the Federal Reserve to cut rates within the next year or two, because it expects the economy to slow down enough that the Fed has no choice. According to research from the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco, every single one of the last 10 U.S. recessions going back to 1955 was preceded by an inverted yield curve. That is a 10-for-10 record over 70 years. No other recession indicator comes close. The bond market does not always announce its predictions loudly, but when the yield curve inverts, it is making one of the loudest statements in finance. The FDIC reports the national average savings account pays 0.38%. That is the rate at most of the largest banks in America. Meanwhile, 3-month U.S. Treasury bills currently yield 3.71%. The best high-yield savings accounts pay around 4.20%. All three are essentially as safe as money in the bank. T-bills are backed by the U.S. Treasury. High-yield savings accounts are FDIC insured up to $250,000 per institution. Same money, same safety, dramatically different yield. The only difference is which institution holds the cash. Return to Brian. Suppose Brian, beyond his mortgage, holds $50,000 in a typical savings account at his neighborhood bank, earning the FDIC average of 0.38%. That balance earns him $190 a year in interest. If the same $50,000 sat in 3-month T-bills at 3.71%, it would earn $1,855 a year. The Treasury option earns 9.8 times what the savings account does on identical principle. Over 5 years, leaving the money at the bank costs Brian $8,325 in interest he could have collected without taking on any additional risk. T-bill interest also happens to be exempt from state income tax, which makes the gap even larger for anyone in a high-tax state. If any portion of your retirement money is in bond funds, find the duration on the fund's fact sheet. Anything above 7 means your fund will move meaningfully when rates do. Long-dated bond funds with duration above 15 will behave more like volatile stocks than the seatbelt they were sold as. Knowing the number is not optional if you own the fund. If inflation is a specific concern, the U.S. Treasury issues Series 1 savings bonds, which pay a composite rate that adjusts with inflation. The current rate, in effect through October 2026, is 4.26%. There are purchase limits. $10,000 per person per year through Treasury Direct. But for cash that needs to keep up with the cost of living, I-bonds are the most direct inflation hedge available to a regular saver. The 10-year Treasury yield takes 5 seconds to look up. When it climbs, mortgages, car loans, and corporate borrowing climb with it. When it falls sharply, the bond market is usually bracing for a slowdown. It is the closest thing the economy has to a check engine light, and now you know what it means. The bond market is not a thing rich people do. It is the invisible machinery that prices your mortgage, your savings, your retirement, and the job market your employer operates in. Every dollar in your financial life is touched by it. The people who understand how it works are not smarter than you. They just stopped pretending it was boring. If you want to run these numbers on your own mortgage, your own savings, and your own bond exposure, I built a tool that does it. It takes the current 10-year Treasury yield and shows you, in dollars, what every move in the bond market costs or saves you across your mortgage payment, your bond holdings, and your cash. It is part of the Wealth Logician's Calculator Vault, alongside every other tool we have built for the channel. Becoming a member gets you the whole vault and a community of people who are actually doing the math. If that sounds useful, the link is in the description. Hit like if this connected dots for you, subscribe if you want to do the math on the next one, and I will see you in the next video.